Hi, Churchill Middle School. It's Mrs. Lewis again, and I am here to talk to you again about Community Project. Today's video is going to focus on our general timeline for Community Project this year and also some frequently asked questions. So we're going to go ahead and get started. General timeline for Community Project is going to look like the following. So for first quarter, we are just starting to launch the Community Project in homeroom. So there won't be any sort of graded component for first quarter. Again, we're just getting an idea of what the project is and start thinking about our plan for the future, 3 quarters. In second quarter, we're going to be addressing criterion A, which is the investigating criterion for the project, and criterion B, which is the planning portion of the project. In third quarter, we're going to be addressing criterion C, which is the actual taking action portion of the community project. And then lastly will be criterion D with the reflection. All right, so how exactly is community project organized? There is a packet that you are receiving in homeroom this week, which is essentially your process journal or community project packet, and it will essentially guide you through the work of each of the 4 quarters as well as the homeroom curriculum on the website, and these videos are always available for you to access. All right, so here is a digital copy of our process journal. And again, you will be getting a paper copy of the actual process journal. You will notice that on the front page of the packet, there is a place for you to go ahead and sign that you've reviewed the directions for the project, as well as a guardian signature. The due date will be set up by your community project coordinator, which is your homeroom teacher, and look for that assignment being due in the next week or so. You will also notice that our project is going to surround itself with the 5 global themes. So students are able to pick really any project that they want to that's going to help an area of need, but we're going to help you kind of pick who you might want to help out with the 5 global themes, which include health and nutrition, citizenship and responsibility, environment and humanity, social justice and equality, and education and literacy. We really want to make sure that students are engaged in a project that is meaningful to them, that they're enjoying, because the only way to really instill the active service in you for the rest of your life is to make sure you understand it should be something that you're passionate about and you enjoy, and it's more than just a school requirement. That is a big goal of the community project. Our service learning is also different than our previous community service packets that we had, where students are able to do lots of different types of services. We've talked about this before in earlier videos, but again, it is lined out in the packet that you are going to be able to decide if you would like to do direct service, indirect service, advocacy, or research. All of these will be options for you as we move forward with our projects. So for first and second quarter, we're just getting started in first quarter, so the packet won't be officially collected by your community project coordinator until the end of second quarter. But just taking a look at the criterion A work, which is the investigating portion of the project. So you can see that there is an IB rubric attached to community project. These are rubrics specific to the community project. And then you'll also notice the page of work in your process journal where you are going to be identifying which global theme are you interested in connecting with. And then there's an area where you're going to be able to figure out what types of projects sound interesting to you. And then there's a large area where you're going to be able to include your research notes of an additional space here where you'll be able to essentially compile any information that you're seeing, what kind of work is already being done in the community, what areas are still needed, and that will be all part of the initial investigating portion. The second part that will be continued on in second quarter is the actual planning portion of your project. So again, here is the IB rubric for criterion B. And then moving into the actual planning pages of the process journal. So you'll notice this is where you're going to actually write up your proposal. You'll be calling out what type of service you are wanting to actually meet this year. And then there are large boxes where you can go ahead and plan any of your communication notes, who you need to talk to, next steps. Again, if you need any additional pages, you can always attach additional sheets to the back of your project. You would just want to make a note at the bottom of page 7 or any of the pages that you're adding additional content to kind of see back of packet. There's also a reflection portion where you'll be reflecting on how the process is going. Again, a big part of the community project is not just the concept of doing service, but also being reflective upon what worked for you, what didn't work, how can we make sure that we're being more successful the next time we try to do some type of big venture like this. And then there's additional areas for your note-taking. Third quarter will then have an additional rubric, and this is the actual taking action portion. So this is where you decide if you are choosing to go out and work in a food bank or an animal shelter or a senior community or an elementary school, any of those direct service types of actions. This is when you would actually be going out into the community and doing that work. If you are working in an indirect way, if you're building an advocacy project, if you're doing additional research for your area, then that would also be happening during this time. You will be able to kind of prove and make notes on your actual service here. So it might be dates and times of when you were going to these particular places, just to keep yourself organized, having that schedule laid out in this area. It can also be time that you're working on something outside of school at home to get your project completed. This might be where you're including additional research information if you're doing a research type of project. So again, just evidence of your actual action and what you're working on towards your project would happen here in the next space for Criterion C. Then there is an area of reflection as you've gone through the service where you're going to be asked, who benefited? How did it all go down? What areas of your project would you change? This, again, we want meaningful reflection. We're not asking for you to just give us answers that you think we want to read. If something didn't go well, if the project failed essentially, if you thought you were going to be able to do this really grand, huge scale project, but then the resources just didn't line up, you can say that, right? The point is the process and the trying and the reflection and seeing how you could change this in the future is really a big part of community project. Our fourth quarter is where there will be additional reflection. There's an additional rubric here, and a final reflection on your process journal. Also some looking at the ATL skills that are laid out in the packet. So again, it'll say to refer to page 14, which is showing you all the ATL skills here on the screen. And those are really just going to be those life skills that you are needing for not only your academic life, but also your life outside of schooling. There will be a presentation that will happen during fourth quarter. This will be in addition to submitting your process journal for the final time. Students will all create a 3 to 5 minute presentation. You can really choose your platform. We are going to suggest that a digital presentation may be created using Canva or some like service would be suggested. Your presentation will include the following. You need to have the project name, student name or names, your global theme that you worked on, the type of service project, if it was direct or indirect, and an overview of your project proposal and the completion. How did it actually go down? What happened? And then as many visuals as possible to make your presentation engaging. So this is something that you're going to want to think about as you're going through your service. If you are building something at home, if you're researching, these might be screenshots, these might be photos. If you're going out into the community, make sure that you're collecting brochures or flyers or photographs of the service work. All of those types of things are able to happen and will really make your presentation shine. Right now, presentations will be held during fourth quarter, and they will be presented during the homeroom period of our day. There is an academic honesty form. There will be a little bit of a further conversation about this particular piece of it, but you will notice that there will be, this is an official form from the IB, not something that we've created, and it is a requirement of the community project. So you'll notice that there are going to be 3 specific meeting times where you will have a one-on-one or a time where your group is meeting with your community project teacher advisor, which is your homeroom teacher. and you'll be sitting down and just kind of checking in to make sure how things are going, and those things will be recorded here on this paper. And then it's also just the declaration of that this is our work, that this is what we've been doing, and that we've completed everything with academic honesty, which we know is a big part of being a good person and being a student at an IB school. And I have a few other little slides just on some other questions now that we've gone through the process journal. So a big question will always be, how are we going to be graded? It is a school project, so we understand that. Starting in second quarter, your project process journal will be collected in homeroom. The Churchill teachers will collectively be reviewing these outside of school time in some of our meeting times that we have set aside, and we'll be marking essentially the progress that you've made on your project. Your second quarter marks are merely predictive and informative, so we're just here to take a look and make sure that you are on the right track, you're moving forward, and then again, the markings on the rubrics will just be more for your information to kind of see where you at and what you can maybe do differently in the next quarter to be more successful on community project. Starting in third quarter, your IB mark for community project will be present on your report card, and your final community project marks will be present on your fourth quarter report card as well. So just like with the rest of our academic classes, IB marks don't start to show up on your report cards until third and fourth quarter. Community project will be the same. These IB marks will be present on both third and fourth quarters report cards. There will also be certificate of completion for students at the 8th grade promotion ceremony who complete their community project with exemplar marks. So students that receive the highest scores on their IB rubrics for their project will get the special recognition and a completion certificate for the middle years program here at Churchill. Many of our students will continue on their pathway with IB NYP at Mira Loma. As you complete the MYP in the 10th grade year, your sophomore year, you will also be completing what is known as a personal project, which really is just the next step from the community project. So this will be a great stepping stone for that next step for you in your IB education. For those of our students who choose not to continue on with IB NYP and they might be going back to their home high school that doesn't offer the International Baccalaureate, then the community project is really that final milestone project. It is going to be kind of a nice little end to your middle years education here at Churchill. And again, certificates will be presented to students with those exemplar marks of completion at the promotion ceremony. Just so something else that you can go ahead and look forward to as you are completing your work with community project. I think some of our last questions is really just making sure we understand that yes, you can work in a group. All students will be able to decide if they're going to work individually, in a partner, or a group of 3. Each student will complete their own process journal, so that is important to know. Everyone has their own process journal and will be graded individually. However, if you have a really large idea for a community project, it might be something that you really are going to need some teammates to complete that work. And just knowing that yes, you are able to work in an individual, a partnership, or in a group of 3. However, we do need to remember that the bulk of our community project work will be done during homeroom. So if you are going to be choosing any partners or groups, they do need to be present in your current homeroom class. And really that is just a logistic situation that we'll need to make sure we're just working with our classmates within our homeroom period. Thank you so much for listening. I hope that this has been informative as we get started on community project. As always, if you have any questions, you can always come and see me. I'm Mrs. Lewis. My classroom is room 4 in the A wing, and I've also put my email address up on the screen, lindsay.lewis@san1.edu. You're also welcome to email any questions that you may have regarding community project. And of course, you may also ask your homeroom teacher. They may be able to handle some of those smaller questions as well. Thank you so much, and I look forward to seeing everyone getting started on their projects. Have a good day.